After fleeing for their lives a year ago, residents of battle-scarred Marawi were allowed back into the main combat site last April to dig through the rubble that was once their homes. I got to see the ruins of Far myself last December. I can still vividly see, hear, and feel the heartache and despair, finding hope and a sense of home amidst the devastation. Their stories must be told and must never be forgotten. We pay tribute to the Maranao spirit in part 2 of our special presentation, Marawi, Heartbreak and Homecoming. We continue our journey through Marawi and Iligan, talking to Maranaos struggling to come to terms with heartbreak over all that's been lost and a bittersweet homecoming 2 months since the end of the Marawi siege. This week on Profiles, we are in Marawi to look at the heartbreak of homecoming for many people who are coming here for the first time to the main battle area. But we focus on the hope ahead for rebuilding a better and brighter Marawi.
If you want to go to Batu Mosque.
Our visit to the main battle area begins with a military briefing on the places we'll be visiting.
Ito sir yung convoy na sir.
We are on Mapandi Bridge. We're about to enter Ground Zero. This is the area that was totally devastated during the Marawi siege, and we have special access. We are with the military. They're bringing us into the area, but clear-up operations are still ongoing. There are many areas that are still being checked for IEDs and other explosive devices, so we have to be very careful where we're going. It's a very emotional experience as Maranao residents from the Peace and Development NGO Maranao People Development Center, or Maradeca, join us, visiting their home neighborhood for the very first time. It's hard to explain the feeling you get seeing all the destruction. It's just really heartbreaking. I mean, it's bringing tears to my eyes. I can only imagine what happened to the people that had to endure this and run away from all of this. It's even more heartbreaking seeing it live and up close. Zinab, anong nararamdaman mo? Nakikita mo lahat to?
Hindi ko nangyari sa Marawi. Hindi ko kaya. Hindi ko po masabi, ma-explain. Sobrang napakasakit po sa pakiramdam makita ang ganitong situation ng Marawi.
It's a hair-raising experience, taking it all in. Extremely eerie and heartbreaking, seeing everything reduced to rubble.
We have here the
Marawi Mayor Majul Gandamra takes us through the ruins and lets us in on plans to rebuild the city. Most of your family members live here, no?
Yes.
So you have a lot of buildings around.
A lot of buildings around here, and marami akong kamag-anak dito. In fact, itong 24 barangays, which is yung nandito sa loob ng Ground Zero, almost lahat to ay kamag-anak natin. This is Quezon Avenue. This is the main thoroughfare. Yeah. So ito po, madaming buildings dito, but you see the rubble na lang natitira. Yes. Ito yung Rizal Park. Nandyan po yung nakita natin. Yes, it was destroyed. Ito po ay maayos naman noon, before.
Wow, when you see
yan po yung CBD, Central Business District.
Okay.
Yan ay, lahat po yan ay mga malalaking buildings. Nandyan din po ang ating public market. Ang plano po natin dito, given the chance, ay ayusin natin. Magkakaroon ho tayo ng boulevard, esplanade.
We make our way to the Grand Mosque, known as the Islamic center among Marawi residents.
Ito, may kuwan yan dati.
May dome to noon.
Yeah, may dome, yes.
So sa bomba natanggal.
There were militant group who stayed here and fight it out with the military.
You will rebuild this?
Yes. There are plans that to rebuild these religious structures, so that it's one way of course, healing the wounds of our people, and this should be prioritized.
Before leaving Ground Zero, we make one last stop at Mapandi Bridge above the Agos River. Many residents swam across this river to escape the heavy fighting during the Marawi siege. Mayor Majul tells us about fonder memories here.
When I was young,
Dito kayo
dito po kami nililigo. Ang plano po namin dito ay lalagyan namin ng boulevard.
Upon seeing her home for the first time since the Marawi siege broke out on May 23, 2017, Nurjana Hussein is tempted to jump down from the bridge to get a look inside.
Pinaghirapan mo. Wala na. Masakit sa pakiramdam, hindi lang para sa kundi para sa lahat ng mga kababayan mo. Pagkakita sa lahat ng dinaanan natin, lalo't nakita kong bahay ko, nangyari. Parang wala ka talagang masabi. Hindi lang para sa sarili mo, kundi para sa mga kababayan mo na nasira talaga lahat ng Marawi.
Anong nararamdaman mo? Nakikita mo lahat to for the first time?
Hindi ko man nakita yung sa amin, pero parang nag-represent na ito na rin yung nangyari sa bahay namin. 7 months na. At least ngayon lang ako nakapasok dito. Na-feel ko na at least nakita ko man lang yung lugar. Hindi natin alam kung makakapasok pa ba kami ulit dito. Kaya nagpapasalamat kami sa CNN. Kay Miss Michi na siya yung nag-lead para makapasok kami dito. Sobrang laking pasasalamat. At least nakikita lang namin sa mga video sa social media. At least ngayon kami na yung nakasaksi. So halo-halong emotions po.
Rebuilding Marawi is an arduous task that's not only physically challenging, but even more difficult emotionally for residents. Doctor and Judge Osop Abbas, whose property was damaged in the main battle area of Marawi, says the people must be allowed to grieve before any significant rebuilding can take place.
I believe that Marawi is dead. Namatay, no? The heart of the city is dead. We are in grief, of course. Before anything is planned, rehabilitation, the physical rehabilitation of Marawi City, yung mga tao muna unahin. So, namatayan sila eh. Unahin natin yung damdamin ng mga tao. Physically, mentally, socially, and economically.
Indeed, Maranao's grieve as the long road to rebuilding begins, with internally displaced persons or IDPs slowly returning to their homes. Samira Gutok Tomawis tells us about the day her family returned to their home, just outside Marawi's main battle site.
Day 2, it was unang yakap, unang yapak. Pinaka-demand namin during the SONA of the President was to get to first sight of our houses. And at last it happened 150 plus days, 60 days after. The soldiers were the ones who welcomed us. So, upon entry the house, it was inside the bedrooms namin. And it said it all, Mitzi. Your bedroom, all topsy-turvy. All the papers, all my albums, gulo-gulo. My husband's branded na mga gamit. Yun ang nawala. So it meant na it must be men who took stuff. And of course, firearms removed na. So normal, any story. And that's what's dangerous, Mitzi, that it's okay, it's normal. It cannot be normal. It cannot be acceptable.
Judge Abbas also cannot accept that his hospital and home were damaged further after rebel fighters got through it. He shows me photos he recently acquired indicating new damage to his property.
When it was occupied by the military people, parang okay pa. You can see okay pa, di ba? Okay pa. When they left, nakakuha kami ng picture only yesterday, sirang-sira na.
While most structures could be rebuilt, he says that residents of Marawi could never replace homes and other places of sentimental value.
Many of those lands in Marawi City are not registered, no? It has no title. And some of these areas are also reserved for the military. So ngayon, wala silang titles, magulo.
Sultan of Marawi Abdul Hamidullah Attar says improving communications is key in addressing such conflicts, particularly in dealing with internally displaced persons or IDPs.
Right now, the Task Force Bangun Marawi, the government institution, has a lot of lapses in terms of bridging the right information to the IDP. The bottom line of all the issue is why the government did not consulted us. Why we heard that the Task Force Bangun Marawi wanted to flatten the 24 ground zero area. So therefore, the people are demanding right information and consultation.
Maradeca Operations Manager Sinab Ibrahim explains the thrust of their peace and development work to help those displaced by the war. So ito yung nangyayari ngayon
Ito na yung nangyayari at saka ito siya ngayon.
So ano yun? So ito, syempre cash assistance.
Cash assistance na bumabalik, itong 1,729 IDPs, yan, tapos yung...
And water syempre kasi walang tubig sa Marawi.
Oh,
Dapat
kasi yung
clean water.
Filtration. Tapos ito, child-friendly space. At saka may sa plan din, may ano din kami, may women-friendly space.
We visit one of their projects in Sagyara and Lanao del Sur, providing psychosocial services to children.
They are like the survivors of the siege, so we just want them to express themselves. They've seen how it was in like Marawi, and
you see the pain in their eyes.
Yes, and it's just like so heartbreaking to see these kids. But I mean, it's so hopeful as well.
And this is such an important part of rebuilding Marawi.
Yeah, it is.
Along with children, women too are most vulnerable in disaster and war. Samira emerged as a young leader and public face of the Maranaos during the Marawi siege.
The building of the trust and confidence for us as civilian leaders, I think that's very important. Give it to people to design their own future destiny. The people's process has to be respected, honoring, giving them space to grieve. We need to see more Mitsi women engaged. We need to see more organized groups engaging Manila groups.
Doon naman sa mga bata, dapat yan po ang ating bigyan din ng pansin dahil sila po ang pinaka-vulnerable dito sa nangyari, no? Sila po, most of them are, lahat ng karamihan na sumapi, those were enticed to join this ISIS-inspired group ay mga kabataan po. And some of them are young professionals. Pati yung pamilya dapat to maging aware, maging vigilant. At dapat alamin natin kung ano ang nangyayari sa ating pamilya mismo.
Marawi is the capital of Lanao del Sur province. Officially known as the Islamic City of Marawi, it's renowned as the premier Islamic educational center in the Philippines. It's home to the main campus of Mindanao State University, the biggest state university in Mindanao and next to University of the Philippines. This is one of the main commercial centers in Marawi City, and when you look at this scene with all the activity, it looks like life has returned to normal here in Marawi compared to the devastation in Ground Zero.
Noong Marawi siege, lahat ito naka-close. Masaya ako kasi naging normal na yung buhay dito sa Mindanao State University. Sign ito ng progress, sign din ito na yung mga tao na ngayon nagbangon na sila.
Sinab's husband, Salik Ibrahim, Chief Executive Officer of Maradeca, says an important part of rebuilding is empowering the people economically.
Ang isa na para makabalik yung ekonomiya, dapat lahat ng expenses na dito sa Marawi City. Yung mga tao, kulang din yung mga purchasing power nila. Isa sa ating intervention ay yung pagbibigay ng mga cash for work, pagbibigay ng cash assistance doon sa mga IDPs. Ito yung pamimigay namin ng cash transfer sa mga IDPs nagagaling sa Marawi City. Ito yung resulta ng partnership namin with the Lutheran World Relief, pagbibigay ng cash transfer, and then pinapadaan nila sa mga pawn shops para makuha ng mga tao.
Hindi namin nakalain na ganito mangyari sa amin. Nawalan yung bahay namin, nawalan yung tinda ng asawa ko, wala lahat.
Ito yung
Sinot ko, nung umalis kami, nagbakwit kami, hanggang ngayon ito pa rin. Ayaw ko kasi bumili kasi hanggang ngayon, sana makita ko pa yung mga gamit ko na sana may masasalba pa ako. Alhamdulillah kasi may Maradeca na tumulong sa amin. Hindi lang ako, lahat ng taga Marawi.
Maranaos are known to be proud, resilient, and entrepreneurial. Mayor Majul Gandamra says that his people have begun to rebuild their lives in little ways.
For example, you see small stores being opened,
Yes.
starting their
Entrepreneurial sila.
Yes, we help each other, and not all the barangays are badly affected. We only have at least 24 barangays located in the ground zero. People are helping each other.
Such hope and optimism reverberates throughout Lake Lanao, bordering the eastern side of Marawi. It's one of the most stunning sights here and is known as the heart of the city, being the center of culture, livelihood, and commerce. Lake Lanao is very much linked to the identity of Marawi. After all, Maranao means people of the lake. And when you're here, you really feel the beauty, the peace, and tranquility of the area. But here behind me, a totally different picture. Destruction, devastation, a city brought down to its knees by two conflicting ideologies. 28-year-old Norlia Deron, a community organizer and training officer at Maradeca, shares a childhood story about an iconic piece of the scenery.
Ayan po si Sleeping Beauty. Ang kwento po sa amin ng mga iba, mga nakakatanda, pag nagising daw si Sleeping Beauty, katapusan na daw ng mundo. Kahit hindi pa nagigising si Sleeping Beauty, parang nakatapusan na ng mundo yung nangyari sa amin dahil sa nangyari sa Marawi. Nawawalan ka na ng hope tuwing nakikita mo to. Pero pag nakikita namin yung mga tao na mas worst pa yung pinagdadaanan ngayon, nagpapa-strengthen yun sa amin na pagpatuloy pa namin yung ano man yung ginagawa namin pagtulong sa komunidad.
It's a tough and long road ahead. But building a better and stronger Marawi is possible with people like Norlia, dedicated to giving all they've got, working with all sectors of society. As the lyrics to the song Awit sa Marawi go, sisikat ang araw sa isang bago ngayon. The Maranaos are grieving for all they've lost, but they are grateful for life and they look forward to coming home and a chance to start all over again. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Thank you for watching.